It all started when the whispers about Dr. Damon began to get louder. And baby, the tea was getting hotter by the second. People had always seen him as the quiet good guy, the one who stayed calm while Dr. Heavenly stirred the pot. But you won't believe what came out next. Dr. Contessa, who once called Dr. Heavenly her friend, decided she was done holding back. And let me tell you, this is how it all started to fall apart. Now, if you've been watching Married to Medicine for a while, you know that when Contessa talks, people listen. So, when she brought up those mixed babies with Dr. Damon's last name, everybody's jaw dropped. It wasn't just a shady comment. It felt personal, like she knew something the rest of us didn't. And that's when things started getting really interesting. Why would Contessa out of nowhere say something so specific? And why did she sound so confident when she said it? That wasn't a random jab. It was a warning. Dr. Heavenly acted like she was shocked, but the way her face changed, it told a different story. You see, Heavenly had always been the loudest one in the room, always quick to drag somebody else's relationship, always judging other people's marriages. But here's the shocking part. She never liked talking about her own. That's when people started wondering, why is she always going after others? What is she trying to hide? Because usually when someone keeps throwing dirt, it's to cover their own mess. And then it came back to something that had happened a while ago. Let me remind you, there was that episode, maybe some of y'all remember, when the ladies were at Heavenly's house. One of them opened a cabinet in her kitchen and found baby milk. Yes, baby milk. Everyone laughed it off at the time, but the question remained, why was it there? Heavenly didn't have a baby, so who did? She brushed it off like it was no big deal. But now, looking back, that moment hits different. What if it wasn't just a random item? What if it was a clue? And this is where it gets interesting. People started putting things together. Damon always smiled, always stayed quiet, and always backed up Heavenly, even when she was clearly in the wrong. It felt like he was protecting her from something, or maybe protecting himself, and that's what made people stop and think, what if the reason he never speaks up is because he's got something to lose? What if he's been living a double life and Contessa just cracked the door open? Now, here's the craziest part. After all that tea started spilling, people began rewatching old episodes. They noticed how Dr. Damon would always disappear when the drama heated up. He never denied anything. He just smiled that same old smile. And let's be real, sometimes silence speaks louder than words. Especially when your name is being thrown into scandal after scandal and you're out here pretending nothing's wrong. But let's go back to Dr. Contessa for a second. That comment about the mixed babies wasn't just an insult. It was a clue. And if you listen closely, she wasn't the only one who hinted at it. There were others who had made little comments over the years, but nobody ever connected the dots until now. And trust me, baby, once you start connecting the dots, the whole picture gets a lot messier than anyone expected. So after Contessa dropped that bomb about the mixed babies, people couldn't stop talking. The internet lit up. Forums, blogs, TikTok videos, everybody had something to say. But let me tell you what really blew this thing wide open. It was the moment when people started asking, why would Contessa risk saying something so wild on camera if there wasn't some truth behind it? She had everything to lose, yet she didn't hold back. That's what made people stop and say, wait a minute, she knows something. And then people started remembering all the strange behavior from Dr. Heavenly over the seasons. She was always extra loud, always angry, always ready to fight. But deep down, it felt like it wasn't about the other women. It was about something going on at home. Let me remind you, this woman has spent years calling everyone else's husbands cheaters, abusers, liars, the whole nine. But when it came to her own marriage, crickets, silence, nothing but that fake smile. And baby, that silence. It started to sound like guilt. Let me tell you something else. This is where it got real interesting. Sweet Tea, who used to be close with Heavenly, came forward and shared what nobody saw coming. She said Heavenly admitted that she believed Mariah when she said she had receipts on Dr. Damon. Now, pause right there. That's big. That means even Heavenly herself didn't trust her own husband. If she believed Mariah even for a second, that says a whole lot about what's really going on behind those doors. And it makes you wonder what else is she ignoring just to keep the image alive. But here's the part that still gives me chills. When Sweet Tea talked about that moment, she said, Heavenly looked scared, not embarrassed, not annoyed, scared. Like someone who knew something was true and was just hoping it wouldn't come out on camera. You know that look when someone is praying inside their head like, please don't say it. Please don't say it. That's what we saw on Heavenly's face. And let's not forget Mariah never dropped the actual receipts, but she made it clear she had them. And if we know anything about Mariah, it's that she doesn't bluff when it comes to dirt. Now, let's not forget the way Damon acted whenever things got uncomfortable. He wasn't defending himself. He wasn't speaking out. He was just there. And that's exactly why people started paying more attention. That quiet act stopped looking humble and started looking shady, like someone who was praying the storm would pass. People started saying, hold up. This man might not be the victim. He might be the whole problem. And here's where it took another turn. Remember that scene? Yes, the iconic one where Contessa and Heavenly went at it. Heavenly tried to defend herself, tried to switch the focus back on Contessa, but baby. Contessa didn't flinch. She came back stronger and said, at least I ain't worried about no mixed babies with the last name Key. Who? That line right there, that shook the room. It wasn't just shady. It was intentional. And when you say something like that on camera, you're not just throwing shade. You're sending a message, and let me tell you, after that things were never the same. The other ladies started looking uncomfortable. They didn't deny anything. They didn't jump in to defend Heavenly. You know what that tells me? They heard the same rumors. They just didn't have the nerve to say it out loud. But Contessa did. And the moment she did, the silence from everyone else said everything we needed to know. After Contessa's bold statement, the entire energy of the show shifted. It wasn't just gossip anymore. People started putting real weight behind these claims. And remember, Contessa wasn't just a random cast member throwing shade. She was Heavenly's former best friend. They had years of friendship. So, if anyone knew the real behind-scenes stuff, it was her. And let me remind you, when a friend turns into a foe, the tea they serve hits different because it comes with details nobody else could possibly know. Let's go back to those receipts Mariah mentioned. She said, don't make me tell you what kind of woman Dr. Damon really likes. Now, hold on. That wasn't just slick talk. That was a loaded sentence. And if you were paying attention, you saw Heavenly's face go stiff immediately. The woman who always had something to say suddenly had nothing to say. Her usual comebacks disappeared. And for a split second, she looked like someone who had just been exposed without a single word being shown. That's what made people think maybe Mariah did have something real. Now, this is where destiny took an unexpected turn. Because just when people thought the drama would simmer down, more little things began to surface. Sweet Tea brought up the topic again and doubled down. She said, you told me yourself, Heavenly. You believed Mariah when she said she had proof. And baby, when somebody repeats what you said in confidence, that's no longer just gossip. That's confirmation. That's a crack in the perfect marriage Heavenly tried to sell us all along. And the craziest part, this isn't even just about one moment. It's about a pattern. Look at the signs. Dr. Damon and Dr. Heavenly don't even sleep in the same bedroom. That right there is more than just a red flag. It's a whole parade. Because how are you telling the world your marriage is perfect, but behind the scenes, y'all are living like roommates? And when Contessa mentioned that, Heavenly didn't deny it. She just deflected. And silence again became her loudest response. But here's where it gets even more twisted. Several cast members started hinting that they too had heard about Dr. Damon's alleged side situations. Nobody said it outright, but the shade was loud. Little comments, weird facial expressions, awkward silences, everything added up. And that's when fans started doing the math. These weren't just baseless rumors floating around. This was something real that everyone knew about, but was scared to say aloud. And just when it couldn't get any messier, people brought up how Heavenly moves when she feels threatened. You've seen it. She gets loud. She attacks. She plays the victim. And baby, that's not strength. That's protection. That's a defense mechanism. When you're scared something's going to come out, you get louder, hoping people won't notice the cracks. But this time, the cracks were showing clear as day, and everybody was watching. By now, viewers weren't just entertained, they were invested. They started asking, what kind of marriage is this really? Is it love or is it business? Because let's be honest, some couples stay together.